Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing well. Before I ask you how your drive down was, can you let people know who you are, what your business name is, and where you're located?
Yes, I am Drew Defir. I'm the owner and founder of Luna Marketing Studio, and we're located in Northwest Arkansas, Bentonville area, but we serve clients all over the country.
Okay, and you haven't been there always, right?
We just moved there 4 months ago from Conway.
Okay, and let me see, I'm trying to figure out how we actually met. Not everyone who comes on this show I know. Most of the time, it's the first time I'm meeting them, but I actually knew you before through Jessica?
Jessica Crum, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was looking through your Instagram last night, and I was like, oh, okay, we have a couple of mutual friends.
Okay.
So, but Jessica, so did you work with Jessica before?
Yes, I worked with Jessica in 2017 or 2017 and 2018 with Silver Lake.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, can you kind of go through exactly what all you do with your, do you consider it an agency?
It is an agency. I call it a boutique marketing studio because our approach is very different than a typical agency. And I'm very proud of that.
Have you noticed everyone, me included, even when we, like businesses like ours who do content and help businesses with marketing, we're kind of running away from that quote unquote agency definition that we've seen before. I've seen that in a lot of people. Actually, a lot of people who've come on, none of them want to really identify as an agency, including myself. Have you noticed that?
In some ways, yes. For me, the reason why I don't want to be identified as an agency is because we are very hands-on with our clients. We're boutique, meaning we don't have a 500 roster, client list. And I want our clients to feel like they have direct access to us. We have a policy in-house where if a client emails or texts or calls between a certain time frame, they hear back from us the same day. And I want our clients to feel like they have access to me as well. And with an agency, you do not have that personal touch.
Yes. Okay. And then, kind of going back before I interrupted you, can you list out all the different things that you do?
Yes, we do social media management, email marketing. There's so much that goes into email marketing, but I won't list all of that out. So social media, email marketing, Pinterest management for the right clients, web design, all the things. A
lot of clients that I talk to nowadays who are either clients of mine or potential clients, they don't really think about Pinterest. And I'm like, you specifically named Pinterest. I haven't really heard of anyone else saying, oh yeah, we also do Pinterest. They may do it as something they include overall, but why do you specifically highlight Pinterest? Because
Pinterest is a great way to direct traffic to your website. It's a great revenue driver. You see this a lot with luxury brands, fashion brands, shoe brands, makeup lines, skincare lines. A lot of women are on Pinterest, looking up recipes or looking up outfit tutorials or, and that's a perfect way to direct people to your website, to your shop, to content on your website.
They're moving a lot more towards video too. I mean, they obviously it's still more about, photo content and things like that. But I say that because recently I was using a scheduling platform, or the scheduling platform that I use is called Metrical. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
Metrical is awesome. Okay. You should check out Metrical.
I will. Metrical.
Do you use scheduling?
Or do you mean for social media and email?
Who do you use?
We like to use Plan.
Okay.
That it's just tried and true. We typically will work with any platform that our client is already using.
Okay.
Our goal is to really adopt to their established ecosystem. But if we're building with a client from the ground up, we want it to be user-friendly to the client.
Yes.
As well as not have hiccups and things along the way for us.
Yes, for sure. Okay. So in Metrical, you have the option to publish to Plannerly. No, not Plannerly, to Pinterest. And so I just made a Pinterest account and started publishing there whenever I was scheduling out all my own content for my business. And so I forgot about it. Like I never even logged into that Pinterest account. And then recently when I was building the studio and looking up designs, I was like, okay, I want to save some pins. So I downloaded Pinterest, went on there. And I have like over 1 million views a month on there from content that I just I haven't even checked on it. So every month, millions of views are coming in through there. And if I had a product, I was like, man, this could be perfect.
Exactly. It's a part of nurturing your client base, potential customers and current clients.
What do you think is the most important part for businesses who are marketing when it comes to going online with your business and basically trying to do outreach, or you're trying to do a campaign for a product? What's the most important part?
So something that we emphasize at Luna is we humanize brands. It's not enough for a CEO to hide behind a logo or a website or their product. Customers now want to know who you are, what your values are, what your company values are, how you treat your employees. They want to know that when they're purchasing a product from you, they're investing in your business, but they want to know that you have a commonality in your values. And they also want to connect with the founder. And I think that goes back to, this is, I feel like, such a hot topic, but it's still relevant. We're starved for connection. We live through our phones and through our computers, and any way that you can position your company to have that real connection to your target audience, the more they're going to trust you, the more they're going to value your service, and the more they're going to purchase from you.
Two things on that. One, do you think that's a new culture shift that we have? I would say that I personally have noticed that the new generation coming up, and even the current generation, they're more so leaning into buying into what the product represents, more so than just a product. So they're wondering, okay, how is this Gucci bag made? How are these shoes made? Like, are they made in good moral spaces? They're wondering these different things. And I'm not sure, again, I'm only 27, so I don't know. This could have been around for a long time.
I'm not that much older than you, Joe.
I know. But, you've had a lot more clients than I have when it comes to social media marketing, I'm sure. So do you think that's a new thing?
I feel like we're seeing that more with the millennial generation, but I don't know. I think so. I think we are seeing it more. But I think that people are just more vocal now. Everyone has access to a platform. Everybody has a platform now to speak on. And, that means more visibility for brands and companies. That's a great thing, but it adds that extra layer of accountability.
Yes.
And, I don't want to go political on us, but, things have shifted. A lot of things have shifted in our culture. And people, I think, have found their voices, and they're using their voices, and they use their voices online on a keyboard, but then they also use their voice with the power of their purchase.
Yes.
So.
Well, obviously there's a lot of benefits to that. But I also think, I'm thinking about the negatives, because I do agree with you, but there are some, maybe not negatives, but some drawbacks. One, whenever a business is selling more than just their product, I think it makes everything 10 times harder as far as on the marketing side, right? Because let's say, for instance, if you're selling a product and you are a makeup brand, your content on your feed is just makeup, and it's in the hands of influencers. It's all that. But when you're sharing who you are, now you're including quotes from you on your page. Now it may be you as the business owner actually talking on your page. Now it may be, stories that are actually a little bit more into your life than normally would be if you weren't sharing who you are. So I think there's a little bit more work when it comes into that, which is why some people just don't do it.
Absolutely. So it's funny you brought up makeup. We did a lot of work with them. I won't mention them, but they're an incredible luxury skincare line. And I told this founder so many times.
Local?
No, I love her. I love Emily. She is wonderful. And their product story and journey is truly remarkable. And she genuinely cares about her products and what's in her products. And we did a lot of coaching on we need to tell this story. The story needs to be on your website. It needs to be your face and your story and your voice need to be on social media. But you're right. It is a lot more work for founders. I mean, as a business owner, think about all of the things that you're responsible for. And now on top of that, now you have to be visible to your target audience. But I mean, we see it across the board. We send our clients an analytic report at the end of every month, and we can look and see these are the posts that perform the best every time a face performs the best. And especially if it's the founder.
Yes. So. Yes. Well, I think also I'm still harping on the negatives. Forgive me. I'm negative today. But also another thing that I'm thinking about too is I think there's a big problem with business owners oversharing. You know, like recently there was a coffee company and they were sharing a lot of political views on their business brand page. And truly, that is a part of them. Like that's, non-negotiable. That is a part of them. But I think there's a point to where you're letting your audience know too much. Like maybe you shouldn't go that far, or maybe, I don't know. I don't think it's always, I think there's a line is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And so I think like trying to find that line is also pretty difficult when it comes to, okay, this is my brand. This is my personal brand, and trying to bring those together. I think sometimes it results in oversharing. What do you think?
So I try not to share blanket statements because everything that we do is highly customized for every single client we work with. However, I do usually encourage our clients to build their personal brand as well. And that is something that we do help them map out, like what goes on the company brand pages, what goes on your personal pages, and then what are the commonalities between your personal brand and your business brand. And then how do we share that in a cohesive, thoughtful way? However, it goes back to the brand's values and their target audience and what their mission is. If they are a coffee shop and their mission is to educate people on a certain political issue or topic, then by all means dive in, because they're going to niche in more and more, and then they're going to serve their target audience amazingly.
Yes.
So it's not as black and white. It's more, what's your North Star? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? And then just lean in, be intentional and lean in.
Yes. Okay. So all that being said too, kind of encompassing everything that you've talked about as far as like, I've heard little statements there of like, we want to share the brand story. The business owner's faces, gets the most likes. Not every business is set up to do that, right? You're not going to see Sam's Club. You're not going to see Walmart's founders. So that means that you're only working with a specific type of business. What is that type of business? So we work with high capacity women on their brand, and we help them build their brand so they can scale their business. We do work with a wide range of clients. We have a chiropractor we work with, but we also work with fashion designers and interior designers, architects. Luxury skincare lines, famous artists, up and coming artists, thought leaders, influencers, authors. It's a pretty wide gambit. And when I say high capacity women, I also want to note we have worked with men, and I loved working with men. I say high capacity women though, because we are a luxury boutique marketing studio, and not every man wants that type of service. So we've niched in and owned that niche. Yes, for sure. Okay. So when I'm thinking about some of the people that you that you are excited to work about, can you maybe share, just bullet point, a few of those different brands that you really like to personally work on within your business? And obviously, I just want to say, so that none of the people who are listening who are your clients feel left out, you're just highlighting a few maybe there's more,
So do you want me to name them personally or do you just characteristics?
The actual industry of the brand.
So a few of my favorites would be artists, fashion labels. I also work with some gals in the hospitality hosting industry, and I love working with them. But truly, it depends on what service we're talking about. I do a lot of coaching and a lot of fractional CMO work. And so that's a different type of client. And those clients there, I love working with women who they're taking the leap. They're scared out of their minds. They're going for it. And we are just powwowing and in the trenches together.
Yes.
But on like a social media, email marketing, web design front, I love working with women who they are a little more calculated or they know they need to be calculated and they want me to help them do that. They want streamlined systems and processes. They want to be excellent in their approach and they're willing to invest in that and they're willing to put in the work alongside us.
Yes. So when you're signing up clients or you're, going through the process of not maybe onboarding, but right before then, what are you actually selling them? And what I mean by that is 2 years ago, I had a business called VidLaunch, and basically we just created the content. So we would work with alongside a marketing agency, and we would go out, we would do all the photos for a brand, all the video for a brand, and then we would give it to the agency to actually distribute, to actually do everything that they're going to do, build a website, all the different things. And one of the things that we ran into is, what are we selling? Are we selling views? Are we selling, a product, an amount of products being sold that month? And I'm sure it's different every time, but what do you sell?
So on a discovery call, what I'm listening for, I ask very specific questions. They're different every time, but I'm looking for holes in their business that we can fill. I hate selling someone something that they don't need because that's just going to hurt our relationship in the end. And at Luna, we are very relationship driven. And so as I'm looking for holes in their business, I'm figuring out, okay, this is how I can help them. This is where I can help them. But as far as, something specific that we're selling, I think that Luna innately does this. We build people's brand voices. We help them create their identity online that they would otherwise not have any idea how to tell. We help them package their story in a way that resonates with their target audience. We'll even dive in and help them create their target audience if they don't even know that. So I think at the core, yes, we're selling, marketing is very performance driven, but it depends on their goal. It depends on their business goal, their marketing goal. But I think at the forefront, we're selling streamlined systems and processes. I'm selling a team that's going to do what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it. We're selling excellence. We're selling consistency and reliability, because I can't tell you how many times we've talked to different women in industries. We worked with a gal in HR, and the first 2 months of us working together, her name's Barbara Mason. I'm going to give her a shout out because I love her so much. But she was like, wow, you have truly built something amazing. I've worked with countless marketing people and no one has ever come in to my business and taken the reins and just done it so well. So I think at the end of the day, that's what we're selling. It's not as simple as views or sales. Because let's face it, social media is one tiny part of your sales funnel.
Yes. Yes. So it sounds like kind of some of the things that I heard, bringing them all to two things. First, it sounds like I heard you say that you're selling problem solving. So you're identifying problems and then you're helping solve those problems.
Yes.
And then two, you're selling consistency. And I think the second part is where so many marketing agencies fail, or so many, even social media businesses who go on and try to even just help them stay consistent with just posting. They fail because after a certain amount of time, the post may still be consistent. Yes, maybe every Monday a photo is still going up, but it's the same photo from 6 months ago, or it's the same quote from 3 weeks ago. And there's no reinventing the wheel. So I'll just say, last night I was kind of briefing myself about your business, and I went back and I scrolled, and I'm like, wow, she's really went through a bunch of different like trends as the business has been established. It went from I remember seeing kind of like a oatmeal type background with quotes and then photos, and then I saw a couple of videos, and then now there's a new there's like a brighter theme to the account. Mm-hmm. So when you're planning all of this out, where do you get your inspiration?
So I get my inspiration from my clients. Everything that we do at Luna is geared towards her. And, any business owner will tell you this, any smart business owner will tell you this. You have to be okay with change, and not even just be okay with it. You have to love it, learn to love it, because if you want to make it, you got to evolve. You got to stay fresh. You got to stay sharp. And that's what we've done. We really started out in the homesteading industry. I have a homesteading background. I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere. So did Heather. Heather is on my team. And I really understood that industry, that language, because that's my blood, so to speak. And so that's my mantra. One of my mantras in life is start with who you have and what you have. And that's where we started. And that's where I've met some amazing business owners. And we launched books and courses with them and helped them launch a skincare company, and not launch it, but help them with their social media and their marketing, their email marketing and all of that. And, but then over time, as your business grows and as your client base grows, you have to grow, you have to evolve. And that's where we've kind of evolved, homesteading. How does homesteading fit in with a fashion label? It just does, because I love fashion too, so I would just say evolve.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the grassroots of when this all started. When did you know that Luna is what you wanted to do, even if you didn't know that was going to be the name of the business at that time?
Okay, so I hope your listeners are ready for some real talk.
Okay.
So I went through a horrible divorce, and but I will go back a little bit further. I actually had brain surgery, had a brain injury. And I was told that I had Chiari malformation. It's where the base of your brain protrudes into your spinal canal. So I had corrective surgery at the end of 2018. And I was told the recovery would be 6 weeks to 12 weeks. No, I recovered all of 2019. It was horrible. I quit my job. My marriage was failing. And in 2019, probably towards the end, we moved to New York City as to me, it was a last ditch effort to save our marriage. And so moved to New York City, and then COVID hit in March.
Oh no, that was the worst place to be.
Yes.
Oh, in the United States, right? Mm-hmm. When you say, that was the one that went, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was horrible. And I hadn't lived in Arkansas in a long time, and I knew in my heart it was time to come home. And so I loaded my car up, loaded my animals up, and I call it my 19-hour drive of shame home. Because, when you come home, you move off to California and New York, you're supposed to have made it, But I drove back home to that farmhouse I grew up in, and I knew it was time to end my marriage. So what am I going to do? What do I do from here? I'm literally starting my life completely over.
How old were you at this time?
Oh gosh. How old was I? 29?
Okay.
30?
Wow.
And starting over in a place I hadn't lived in 6 years, that's hard. Mm-hmm. And so I applied for 62 jobs, but jobs were freezing. People just weren't hiring during COVID. And I thought, okay, I got to do something. So I'm going to start with who I have and what I have. I've been in marketing for a long time. I have a degree in PR. So I'm going to start there. And so a friend threw up on Facebook. He was like, I have this awesome friend. She is so talented. She's just going to take on a few marketing clients. I still work with those 2 clients today that I started with. I'm going to give them a shout out because they're amazing. Immerse, Arkansas, and Selena Ulasowicz. She's a life and business coach. But anyways, and I just kept playing at the business. Like, I'm just doing this until I find a job that's going to like provide for me and, all this stuff. But all along, I had no idea what I was really building until honestly, probably a year in. And I was like, man, I'm just going to go for it. I didn't even name the business at first. It was just Drew Defir, But my husband, Farron, was like, you need to stop playing at this. It's time to like go all in. You're so good at this. People love you. They trust you. Do it. Just go for it. And so, yeah, here we are. And then I finally named Luna.
Okay. And when did you name the business Luna?
Honestly, I don't remember. Probably a year and a half into the business.
Okay. And what year would that may have been?
2021.
Okay.
Because I started Luna in 2020.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Jeez. So you've been around for a little bit now.
Yes.
And so you started in Conway is where...
Started in Conway.
Okay. How many clients did you grow into within the first year?
I really don't know. It was pretty small. I kept it pretty small because I don't talk about this, but I was actually, I have a fashion line. And so I was pursuing that as well. But
okay. And you were doing that on the side? Do you still do that?
Not really. Every now and then we'll make a custom dress for someone, but Luna has like my full attention.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then, so you mentioned someone else who is a part of the team who you're shouting out. How many people do you have now on the team?
We have 6 people on the team. We're about to hire 2 more people.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
social media and email marketing.
Okay. And who are all the people who are, like, what are the positions that are on your team now?
Content creators, a web designer, and photographer. And we work with a few contractors.
Okay. Okay. And they're all, how do you do it whenever they're not here? Like the businesses that you work with are all over. Do you fly to them or do the contractors fly to them?
It depends. So a lot of times they'll provide the content for us and we just put it together, or we'll coach them on what we need. We actually had a client fly to us 2 weeks ago from Atlanta. We have another client out in San Francisco. She'll fly to us. This last time we actually met in Nashville. I think we're going to plan to do another one, but we'll meet her in Austin, Texas. So yeah, it's both. They'll either come to us, we'll meet in the middle somewhere, or they provide us with what we need.
Okay. Have you ever thought about doing like a conference or anything, kind of bringing all of these different women of power together?
Yes. Not so much a conference, but more of a retreat is what I want to do. I want to be a part of putting Arkansas on the map. That's something that once I realized I was staying in Arkansas, I was like, man, Arkansas has so much to offer. We have amazing people here. We have a rich history, and I want to be a part of that. And so that's kind of my goal with this retreat, is to bring all these amazing women that we work with in different states to our state.
That'd be really cool. Do you have some ideas of what you imagine it could look like?
Yes, but I'm not quite ready to share just yet.
Okay. I've done a couple of those retreats as far as when in filmed. I did one for chiropractor recently in Costa Rica for 9 days. And they love them. So I can only imagine some of the things. It seems like from all the retreats that I've done like that, a lot of things trickle over that are consistently the same. So I won't spoil your ideas, but I bet you I could think of a couple of things.
Yes, I would love to hear.
And would you probably do it in Arkansas?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Okay. How many clients do you maybe have right now, if you can remember?
I have no idea.
Okay.
And honestly, there are a few things that I do as a business owner that are like fundamental to me. I actually don't follow a lot of people that are in my industry because what they're doing is none of my business.
Yeah.
I need to focus on my business. And it can cause a lot of comparison and make you second guess what you're doing.
Have you had problems with that, like for yourself in the past?
In the past, a little bit, but then I realized it was because I was putting too much emphasis on what they were doing right, and I wasn't focusing on what I was doing right and what Luna and I bring to the table. Because I keep up with my QuickBooks.
Okay.
But if I kept up with how many clients were on our roster, number one, it might stress me out a little bit to, realize that. But then number two, to me, that's just a stat that doesn't really speak to my business. It doesn't grow my business. It doesn't really affect anything for us. And it just waxes and wanes, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So there are a lot of people who are listening who are the business owners all around the state. And they're like, okay, I'm glad that you don't have to worry about how many clients you have. And I'm sure obviously it wasn't like that in 2020. So how did you get there to where, like, what was that hire that you had to make to where you can only focus on the things that you are good at in your business?
So Heather was the first person I hired, and I hired her as a content creator because at first I was doing everything myself. And you also have to remember, I was still playing at business. I wasn't out there on the streets trying to scoop up all the business. I'm not out here on the streets trying to scoop up all the business now because we've really niched in and we know our lane. But Heather was the first hire, and she started taking things off my plate. And I realized, man, I have room to like dream and breathe because I'm not writing content until 12 o'clock at night, and I'm not on client calls every second of the day. And so realizing, man, there's power in delegating. That's when I really started to scale my business. And what has really scaled our business is relationships. We put the biggest emphasis on relationships. Yeah.
When you lay down and you just finished a hard day of work and you maybe even had a team powwow that day, what makes you really happy to know? What makes you really happy to think about your team?
My team is wonderful. They are team players, but they really care about our clients. And that's something that, from the beginning, even with Heather, like that's something that we stated from the get-go. Owning a business is hard. It is hard work. And it's so important to, excuse my French, but give a damn. If someone's hiring you and they're trusting you with their livelihood, that's feeding their family. It's investing in their children's futures. I want us to treat their business like it's our business.
Look at, businesses who have products, or you look at businesses who have employees. And when you look behind scenes, you're like, man, it really doesn't look like they care about their employees or they care about this product as much as they care about profit margins. And that's very, very difficult. That's a difficult line to walk. And I think kind of going back into that, how did you actually structure the business financially to where you could hire?
So,
and it can go from like, did you start off with project to project and then move to retainer and you realize that retainer is the way to go, or what did that look like?
From the beginning, we started with retainer work. And the reality is, if we don't have projects coming in, I don't have money going out that I can pay. And so now we're to the point where we assess everyone on our team's capacity. And then that tells me how much room we have to bring on new clients. And then that also tells me, okay, we need to hire someone in a month or two to fill this role. And then when we bring on a new hire, I never promise them a full plate. They grow with the position.
Okay. Yes. Okay. No, that's really cool. And then for your website, how detailed do you go into building websites for clients?
What do you mean?
So you said you have a web developer. Do you do full-fledged websites?
Yes.
Okay. So and then is it e-commerce or?
Yep. We'll do e-commerce. We work with a lot of Shopify. We just built a very, very large website. It is going live today. You guys go check out Rejuvenated Med Spa in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We built that website from the ground up. Lots and lots of pages, lots of content. Did their photos, their video, all the full thing.
So were you ever in web development?
Yes. Okay. So my ex-husband and I owned a web development company together.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason why I asked is
he's a developer.
Okay. The only reason why I asked is because there's a lot of people who want to take everything in-house and that's when at the point you become like an agency, quote unquote. And the scariest thing for a lot of them is the web development part, because obviously if you're creating content for a client and they come to you and they're like, hey, I want content created. You're like, well, the content needs to be curated to a good website, because if we're creating good content for you, then and they're going through a crappy website or a crappy web experience, it's not really going to do well for you. And then they go recommend them to someone else who never builds a website, and then they never get that client. And so I was asking that because I was curious of how you kind of felt around the whole process of bringing everything in-house, web development, content creation. Do you do ads?
We also do ads, yes.
Ads, all those different things. Which one was the most scary to try to take on when you realized you had to? And then what do you think about being all-encompassing for businesses?
I love being all-encompassing for businesses because, again, the relationship side of things. They know us, they trust us, and I know that we have very high expectations at our team. And I'm very, very slow to hire. We have minimally 2 people reach out a week to apply to work with us. And I'm very proud of that. But as far as, bringing everything in-house, again, it just goes back to the relationship piece. And I want to be the one to serve our clients with excellence. As far as what service was the scariest, honestly, none of it is scary to me. Marie Forleo says this. I love her. Everything is figure outable. And everyone on my team is more than capable, and I trust them. And so we just have that. Heather and I say this. Sydney says it. We all say it. We'll figure it out. And, not saying that, behind doors, we're like duct taping everything so nothing falls apart. It's definitely not that. The guy that we partner with on web, Kyle, he is wonderful, and he has his own reputation of excellence. And so that's why I felt comfortable bringing him on. Honestly, the scariest service building from the ground up was social media. Yeah. And what you mean the posting and the content creation? All of it. Marketing strategy, learning their business goals, making sure that our strategy aligns with their business goals. And then what does that look like from the ground up? We're not just people. This is what makes it different. This is the difference between a social media manager and someone like us. Like what we do is we're not just posting on social media for you. We understand your business values. We understand your bottom dollar. I was on a call the other day, and they were like, we're at $6.2 million. We want to be at $10 million at the end of the year. Okay, what does that marketing strategy need to look like? We're talking heavy strategy with our clients too, as well as, content and fun reels and your stories and founder story and all of that. I think from the outside looking in, when someone hasn't worked with social media managers, marketing agencies, they just think it is about consistency, and they don't think about
the human part of business.
Right.
And really, when I say the human part of business, like you said, you're working with someone who said they are at 6.4 million and they want to be at 10 million by the end of the year. Well, instead of saying, okay, well, we're going to increase posting to X amount more a post, it's instead a conversation of, okay, well, how can we get more Jims? How can we get more Jennifers, whatever their target audience is, whoever that avatar is? How can we bring more of those people in? Okay, what if we do this, this, and this? Because sometimes those solutions aren't necessarily things that need to happen on social media as much as maybe it needs to be, hey, you need to show up at this event.
Exactly.
Because there are more gyms, there are more whoever this target audience is there. And that is all something that a social media manager just isn't going to provide for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, I mean, and it even could be, I mean, it's just all over the place. When it comes to ads, how do you and your business handle ads? Because
we honestly don't do a lot of ads. Okay. Our clients do not really want ads. The guy on our team who does our ads, especially with Google ads, he said this and I was like, man, that's so true. He was like, I'm very, very, very slow to run Google ads for a business because if you do not have a beautiful Google business profile and you don't have a ton of 5-star reviews and we're running those Google ads for you, they're going to pop up. But then guess what's going to pop up right underneath them? Your competition. And they probably have more reviews than you. You know, if you haven't invested in the time and the energy and tracking clients down and getting people to leave you a review, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go with your competition because of the numbers, because of the 5-star review, because of the amount of raving testimonials. And so that's what I usually tell people, like, you've got to lay the groundwork first. Even to me, in my opinion, this might be, I don't know, controversial, but it's the same with ads, with Facebook ads. You can blow a lot of money on ads, but have you invested that money in your presence and your learning your target audience and really understanding and social proofing your product? Yes. If you haven't done any of that, you have no business running ads.
Yes. Yeah. And I think to kind of touch on that a little bit, when those businesses have done that, though, when they do have the pretty Google pages, when they do have 5-star reviews, when they do have a gorgeous website that has and they have a funnel set up, I mean, ads are absolutely I mean, it can take you from 5 mil to 10 mil that year if you're doing it right, if you're creating good content for the ads. And I think a lot of people don't realize at what tier they should start, right? They're like, I think I heard the last marketing agency I worked with to create content for, their recommendation to their client was, hey, if you're talking about, dumping, $100,000 into ads over the next 6 months, maybe you shouldn't do that if your business is bringing in revenue that's under $500,000 a year. And I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of businesses dump a ton of money into marketing, like an ungodly amount into just ads, thinking that it's going to result in sales. And that's not, if you don't have a foundation, you're not building up on it. Exactly. And so it's hard to find, really it's hard to find the right people to put in place to build those foundations. Like I said, I've worked with a lot of marketing agencies as a contractor, and I've recently stopped it. Reason for that is because I'll go create the content, and it's good content. It's one that's going to get people to click. We film alternate hooks, alternate call to actions, and we piece it all together, and we know how to test it on the ad. If it's not doing well, upload a new one. But what I did find is that the marketing agencies weren't following through. They weren't posting the content they were supposed to be posting. They were only putting out stuff. And when you go to their social media, you're like, you didn't even post this content correctly. What's going on? Or the captions don't at all relate to the actual post. Basically what I found is, and I'm not saying this is bad. There are plenty of successful teams who have figured this out, but most of them haven't, is they're using overseas people who have no connection to culture and who definitely don't know the business. So I think it's super important if you're onboarding a company that everybody who's working on content for that company understands their mission, they understand their goal, they understand their language. And
absolutely.
Like all that stuff should be, no-brainers, but it's not. It's not. How do you actually get your whole team on board with one specific client?
From the get-go, let's talk about content creation for social media and email marketing and Pinterest. Once a client is like, okay, let's go, let's do this. From the get-go, whoever is going to be partnering with me on my team is in that meeting from the get-go. And then before that meeting, I very much brief them. And then after that onboarding meeting with the content creator who's on their account, myself, and the business we're serving, we do what we call a deep dive. And
that's what we call it.
We read every word on their website. Mm-hmm. We scour their social media, and we even tell them any press you've garnered, anything that we need to look at to understand your current brand voice, your current position in your industry, we need to see it. And that's how we learn. And then that teammate is in every single meeting.
How long are those calls until you get the you get the customer persona down? How many calls does it typically take? How long?
Well, we've been doing this for a while now, so I feel like I'm pretty quick at it at this point. But I usually tell people it takes a solid 3 months, especially if we're building something from the ground up and we don't have anything to go off of. Or if we're shifting lanes, we're shifting gears for you, we're repositioning you, we're pulling in a founder story, we're weaving that message throughout. I usually say give us 3 months to nail your brand voice. Usually, it takes shorter than that, but I like to overpromise or underpromise and overdeliver.
Yes, for sure. Okay. And when it comes to like what keeps a retainer, to renewing, when you sit down in those meetings, what are they looking at and asking of you?
That is so case by case. Mm-hmm. A lot of times clients, they want to know, they're looking at like our relationship with them. Are we doing what we're saying we're going to do? A long time ago from the very beginning, I put this in place. We have a promise checklist that is sent with their analytic report. And this is what we promised to do for you. And this is exactly how we did that. Mm. It's an accountability. But we go over analytics together. They're obviously looking at their analytics, but then they're also listening to the feedback their community is giving them. Mm-hmm. That is a huge thing that drives the ship for them. And so it just depends on the client.
Yes. No, that's really, really cool. What excites you for the future of Luna?
Oh my gosh, we have so many cool things in store. The retreat of some sort will be happening. Very excited about that. Word on the street is that we may be starting a podcast.
Yeah.
And the goal of that podcast is to, I want to interview as many high capacity women as possible. And shout their brand out and create as much hype and visibility for them. But I also wanted to highlight our amazing state. Mm-hmm. So we're working on that, and we're just continuing to grow. Mm-hmm. I feel like this year is a year of visibility for Luna. I feel like for the last 3 years, we've had our head down and we have been putting in the work, and we've been trying things, testing things, pivoting when it doesn't work, streamlining our systems. And I'm really excited about continuing to grow the business.
Yes. No, that's awesome. Do you mind if we kind of dive into talking about the whole podcast idea that you have? Because I wanted to talk with you a little bit about that today to help you set that up. And I figure, why not do it while we're here?
Why not?
And I'm sure there's other people who are like, whoa, I would love to have an insight into that conversation. So what all do you have? You don't have to go into topics, but just give me everything that you know you want to do with the podcast. Like any recommended, or what you're thinking for posting schedule, where you're thinking for content, where you're thinking about publishing. I mean, just dump your ideas on me.
So we are still in talks about this as a team. I think that we'll probably shoot to do one a week because of availability. Let's be real. And also, I mentioned social proofing before. This is new for us. And so the podcast is going to have its own systems, its own processes, and figuring out who's going to be doing what. But what we have so far is one episode a week. I will have someone come on. I'll interview them. The gist is you have to be willing to talk about the hard, real stuff because business is hard, especially interviewing women. I'm not saying I'll never interview men, but the first season, I definitely want it to be women because we're raising kids, we're wives, but we're also bosses and leaders and problem solvers. And so I want to have real conversations about that. I do want to get some sponsorships. I do want to partner with some key people, especially in my area. So I'm excited about that. But as far as publishing, this is where I'm going to leave it to Joe because I don't know. I don't know. And we are going to start. I'm definitely the visionary that's like, let's shoot for the moon and let's land on the moon.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm not going to do video the first season because I'm like, let's just get it going. Let's get it started. Let's just do it. Let's nail the audio first. And then the next season, maybe we can bring on video. But yeah, as far as like mics and where we're going to publish and all of the tech side of things, I'm going to leave it to you.
So, and you already know this. I'm just really saying this for the viewers. Or if I say something that you may not know, then even better. But when it comes to podcasting, it's just like you do with your social media clients. It's figuring out who that target audience is first. And then honestly, all of the stuff becomes way more simple. So, for instance, we'll start with Arkansas Minds. Who's my target audience? It's other entrepreneurs, it's other business owners who are in an age range of 25 to 40. And they're either starting a business, they're interested in starting a business, or this is a little bit sad, and I don't actually put this in my marketing, but it could also be someone who missed an opportunity to start a business, but they still are interested. So they're just consuming for the content and the idea and the time to relax away from their main job about business. And so the goal with that and having those conversations with these people is to, one, make them stay here and see how beautiful Arkansas is, see that there's opportunities for them to grow, for them to actually make a career out of their living. So all that being said, it's a big audience, right? But based off of that age range, 25 to 40, okay, I'm 27. When do I go to sleep? I go to sleep. I'm in the house, typically trying to get in the door no later than 6 or 7. And that's pretty late because I have a kid. And then I'm in the bed watching something on my phone at about 8 o'clock. And then I wake up and I go to work at about 7. Okay, well then already I can plan my posting schedule based off of that. When are young adults going to work? It'd be great for them to listen to a podcast at work on the way to work at 7 to 8. Okay, that means I'm going to post at 6:30. So no matter if they're going to work at 6:30 or they're on the way up to the office at 9, they have something to listen to. When do they mainly take off? Well, a young adult is mainly going to try to take off on a Monday and a Friday. So not going to post on those days. I'm going to post on Tuesdays and I'm going to post on Thursdays. And so figuring out a lot of that stuff, like the target audience and really diving deep, honestly makes everything make a lot more sense. Even posting consistency. I think 2 a week is a lot, but I have the capacity to do 2 a week. And I know that with the podcast that I listen to, I'm always starving for the next episode. And so having more podcasts for me is a plus, because I would definitely listen to them because I can do that in my work environment. And I think other people can too, while they're working, doing spreadsheets and things, they listen to podcasts. So all that being said, I just think whenever you nail down that target audience, exactly what they're doing, where they're going, what they're eating, it just makes all those things easier. And even now, going through my head when I'm talking to you, I'm like, man, what does John want to hear from her right now? You know, John has his business and he's trying to grow it. What's interesting to him about her? What question would he be upset that he didn't get answered from listening to this episode? And so it really controls the entire business.
Totally makes sense.
Because it is a business. At the end of the day, it is a business. Whether you're working off sponsorships, whether you're working off donations, or you're working with a nonprofit, it's a business, whether you register it or not, you know? And so that's some of the things that I kind of think about. And really, I wanted to share that because a lot of people are asking, hey, how can I start my podcast? I don't really have budget yet to do it at a high capacity right now, but I just want to get started. Start with your target audience. Figure out what they want. Even put out polls. You should do that. I recommended that. Okay,
we're going to do a survey.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a client yesterday, and they have a huge following online, and they wanted to start a podcast, and they're like, "We're ready now." And I was like, "Hold up, put out a poll on your most engaging platform." I think for them it was Instagram. Put out a poll and ask, "Hey, if we started a podcast, would you want to watch it?" There's an answer. Next page in the stories. What would you want to hear about? Because a lot of people also get that wrong. Maybe someone doesn't want to actually hear about your business. Maybe they want to hear about you. And that's a big difference because like we said at the beginning, that's a difference in between business content and now personal brand. So, okay, if they want to hear about you and that's voted more high, then maybe you should do this on your personal brand. And that's completely okay because your personal brand builds your business brand and vice versa.
Right.
And so, I don't know. What do you think about all that? Is that a lot?
That was a lot. No, I love it. I'm trying to think of my biggest takeaway from that. I love, honestly, how you ended that with the personal brand and the business brand, even from a podcast standpoint. What does that look like? And now I'm even thinking like, oh my gosh, maybe I should start maybe my first episode should just be me, you know, introducing the podcast and my story and giving people, you know, at the end, like serious tips that they can do to invest in their marketing today. Instead of me just interviewing someone, you know, immediately.
I think that would be good because you'll build credibility. Because like for someone to sit and if it's a personal brand, if you're going to put it on your personal brand, I actually would say I recommend that. Okay. Because why should someone, a lady who has a business, why should they sit down and listen to you for 45 minutes? Well, you're going to tell them exactly why in that episode. You've done this, you've been through this hard thing in life, you've been through this hiccup, but you also experienced these successes. And so now you're here and you're just here to find more people like you. And you hope that the listener is one of those people. Like, that's a perfect episode.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I just recorded that on the video, so maybe you can go back and listen to that.
I'm going to do that. No, I'll remember it. Yeah. No, I'm excited. And I'm excited to work with you, Joe.
Yes, let's do it. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. Can you let people know where to go if they would like to work with you?
Yeah.
I know you're not taking men. I'm joking.
No, men who would love a luxury boutique experience with marketing would love to work with you. Find me on Instagram at luna.marketing.studio or Drew.Defir. And if you want to work together, email me. I'm going to give out my email on this podcast, OMG. Email me at drew@lunamarketingstudio.com.
Perfect.
Or go to our website, lunamarketingstudio.com.
Do you have anything you would like to say to maybe any of the women who you work with who are listening now? A message for them?
My clients or my team?
Your clients. And I would say your clients, but also a woman who's looking at you now, who's listening, who's maybe 23, 24, and they're like, I want to get to where she's going.
Buckle up, sister. Work really hard. Borrow confidence sometimes if you need to, because there are going to be some days where you're not going to wake up with that confidence, but have a support system around you. Have your hype team, have your group text, and borrow confidence when needed. Awesome. You can do it.
All right. I'm ending on that one. Thank you again.